Namo Dhamma Shri Soha, O Namo Manju Shri, Namo So Shri, Namo Dhamma Shri Soha. Ye Che Dang Su Ge Chu Na La, Chang Chu Pa Nu Na Ne Gyab Su Chi, Da Ge Chu Nye Chi Pe So Na Ge, Do La Pe Che Sang Ge Chu Ba Shu. Ye Che Dang Su Ge Chu Na La, Chang Chu Pa Nu Na Ne Gyab Su Chi, Da Ge Chu Nye Chi Pe So Na Ge, Do La Pe Che Sang Ge Chu Ba Shu. Ye Che Dang Su Ge Chu Na La, Chang Chu Pa Nu Na Ne Gyab Su Chi, Da Ge Chu Nye Chi Pe So Na Ge, Do La Pe Che Sang Ge Chu Ba Shu. Ye Pe Ke Chu Shi Me Do Cha, Re Ra Ling Shi Ni De Gen Ba Di, Sa Ge Shi Da Me De Bo Ye, Do Ge Na Da Shi La Ju Ba Shu. Ye Da Go Ro Ra Na Me Da La Ga Mi Ya Da Ya Mi. Please adjust your sitting posture according to the 7 meditative postures of Vairocana. Think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. All sentient beings have been my mothers, not just once, but numberless times. All sentient beings are as kind as my mother in this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not even want a small suffering due to mistakenly engaging with objects of adoptions and objects of abandonment, they do not experience any happiness but suffering. In our minds, sincerely cultivate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mother sentient beings were to have excellent happiness and the causes of excellent happiness that are virtues. May they have excellent happiness and its causes. I will cause them to have excellent happiness and its causes. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we cultivate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all mother sentient beings were free from all sufferings and the causes of sufferings that are non-virtues. May they be free from all sufferings and its causes. Our freedom from all sufferings and its causes. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms? I should take the responsibility. Even though I should take the responsibility, I do not have the ability to place them in the state of perfect, complete enlightenment now. Who has such ability? Those perfect, complete Buddhas have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the precious state of enlightenment. Next, we meditate on emptiness for a short while. The self and the aggregates do not exist as inherently one, nor as inherently different. Thus is empty of inherent existence. Set a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this, I will listen to the holy teaching and practice properly in order to benefit sentient beings. Outline, cultivating the close placements of mindfulness on phenomena. Under this outline is next two lines of verse 105. In that way, it is not that the productions of all phenomena will be realized. So regarding the meditations on the close placements of mindfulness on phenomena in the way explained above. So in the way explained above refers to the close placements of mindfulness on body, on feeling, and on mind. So we talk about there are four types of close placements of mindfulness, right? So the first three have already been explained. So in the way similar to what was explained above, so which is these close placements of mindfulness on body, on feeling, and on mind. So anything that are included within these three types of close placements of mindfulness that they do not are not inherently produced. So and any inherent existence in relation to these close placements of mindfulness of body, feeling, and mind have already been refuted. So that So in that they are not inherently produced at the beginning, and they are not inherently abide in the middle, and they are not inherently cease at the end. So similar to what was already explained, so the meditation on the close placement of mindfulness on phenomena, the inherent productions of all phenomena will not be realized. So one should realize the lack of inherent existence of all phenomena, included in the compounded and uncompounded, as taught in the teachings of Ashayamati Sutra. So this is like a summary of the previous close placements of mindfulness. Next outline is dispelling quarrels that the two truths are incorrect. And under this outline, the first sub-outline is abandoning the extreme consequence. Abandoning the extreme consequence. And under this outline is the first two lines of verse 106. Say, in that case, conventionalities would not exist. How could there be two truths with respect to them? Kaza chunga gian kaza uma bala de shin yu ting yu
rangi tsinji tuba himbi ngola denpa yinji yu rangi ne denpa mebi de dendigi rwa denpa me kunzo deba cheji kenanga yesta de rangi naso kenanga tanjuwa karsina kunzo denpa se dashi dirwa dashi swa de kunzo denpa se tumu denzi jingwa denpa se denpa rima tenama denpa resi urwa tumu denzi jingwa la denpa zang resi urwa da denpa tuba jiya che tangi denpa tuba jimba tumu denzi jingwa la denpa zang rima tenama denpa ma resi urwa denpa denpa da chana kina ase silo urwa kunzo chu kina da denpa kina ma dea
kaza kunzo tempa se di tingi we lula ro kunzo tempa se yan timu tenzin gi ngola tempa tamche ne ti thula tempa ma ro
de maris da koran se lo zuda se lo kunzo barang ge cinji juba hebi ngola chuna tempa yor no we res ye rang ngene da tempa me ba de kunzo ye ba tempa me ba kunzo ye ba chuna kina wa ase da de kina wa no da de wo
opinion previously. So previously also refers to those previous sites. So previous sites refers to Svatantika and below. So schools, Svatantika Madhyamika schools and below. Yeah. So previously, through investigating the object and object possessor and the former and later, existence by way of its own character was refuted. So Svatantika Madhyamika schools and below, they assert the existence by way of its own character. And however, it is refuted by Prasangika Madhyamika that existence by way of its own character doesn't exist. So in that case, the faults with respect to the assertion
Yeah, the faults with respect to the assertion of conventional existence are also similar. If existence by way of its own character is not possible, then no phenomenon whatsoever can be posited. So this is the opinions of Svatanika Madhyamika and school below. Then they say to Prasangika Madhyamika. So if existence by way of its own character is not possible, then no phenomenon whatsoever can be perceived, then whereby conventionalities would not exist. How could there be two truths with respect to them? Both of them would not exist. So if conventionality doesn't exist, then reality doesn't exist as well. So then both of them would not exist. In the perspective of an obscuring mind that adheres to existence by way of its own character, forms, sounds, and so forth exist truly. But you asserted that since objects lack true existence from their own side, they exist conventionally. So Prasangika do assert a conventional truth, and the truth, the word truth refers to the mere truth in the perspectives of apprehensions of true existence, ignorant apprehensions of true existence. So conventional truth, or the concealer truth, or obscuring truth. So that word truth for Prasangika is merely true in the perspective of an ignorant apprehensions of true existence. So, however, in reality, they are not true. And their argument continues. Next two lines of verse 106 say, moreover, they are also conventional due to another. How could sentient beings pass beyond sorrow? 댕규의 룩이 되줄 말어. 대한 공속이 삼수리. 공속이 댕규와 댕디 되기어레.
그러지 근도도 되게 상당하고. 단주가 되고 또 댕지 몰라 댕그래서 이나 하나 되고 말이 되게 뭐라 단주.
야 댕규와.
단주가. 단주가 댕바 그만지 또 댕지 또 댕바서 다지데 또 댕지 몰라 댕바지 되나 뭐 댕바. 다 코로나 상호단에 또 댕지 몰라 댕바지 근도도 여기 대해서 하나서 비상하고.
양겨
댕지 몰라 여바지 저는 근도도 여서라고 요나. 그때 이들이 로고야 맞대 거기다 쬐려고 그냥 당고 봤지. 저 이들이 걔가 많이나 대단하서 도와. 다 취주 근도 때 타빙원에 저도 매장 또 저도 힘이고 저도 여바 따라서 다 타바 저도 타사 저도 지금 와서 타바 쳐요라. 또 저도 지금 준지 또바 대 몰라 간다 타바데 대 몰라 준지 대 몰라 대 말했어. 대 몰라 대 말이 되나 대 말와.
타다기 몰라.
저도 여바 따라서 타타 준지 또바 요라. 타타 준지 또바 요라. 준지 뭐 여바 따라 대군도도 여바 러신지 몸바san지 샤바이나 대 몰라 여바 san지 또 러신지 근데 여바 상아 저는 군도도 옆에 되는데 딱 코로나도 소소 상업 바바라니 로고를 마도 단주가 케네 거 말아. 근데 이제 저 샤바인 또 타타 준지 또바 대 몰라 여바 san지 딱 저는 군도도 여바 샤바이나 대단하나 생진아 군도도야 내 양해는다 갈란다 토바치 지금 무슨 생진 속에 군도도야 다 양해 토토고 무슨 좋아 군도도 여기 돌았다 양해 토토고 마루 타바 토토고 무슨 라다
군도도 여비 타바 토토고
양해는다 갈라토스다 양해 토토고 무슨 거라 양해 타바 토토고 무슨 타바 토와다 타바 토와다 주제 가서 여바 탄지 실로고 몸바자 되는 거 맞죠? 여바 탄지 실로고 몸바자 되는 거 맞죠? 대대리 양이 타바만 도와줘 내려봐나 타바도 대도 우미기 따와 때나 봐봐라 되는 거 타는 거 그래서 같이 놓아
여바 탐지 친지 로기 몸바
친지 로기 여바 탐지 친지 로기 몸바 자들 했다 정확히 코로나서 받기 상황단에 도발론 다 단절 정확히 되는 되고요. 시험 단절된 되고요. 그러나 무슨 하고 봐. 근데 이제 봐이나. 근데 타바토바 무시바 근데 이제 봐이나. 타바토베 되다 우미기 따와 때나 봐봐라. 너무 너 스탠드 봐 차는 거. 무엇이 다 코로나서 빌려 버려. 알죠? 와. 신체 군조데 야 냐니 나와데 탑 냐니네 가란다스 타바 무토바레 타바토 무시바레스 타바토 무시바는 내나로 버데. 내나 진도와 타바토 무시바 처음에 엄마가 단지가 지금 내려와이나 타바토게 된다 정식으로 우미기 따와 때나 봐봤을 때 장면 봐 차는 거. 무엇이 다 코로나서 도발론이 생각이 버려마다 현저히 도발한 말로 왔어. 도발은 있어. 그런 그 코로나서 도발.
So in that case, refers to the assertions of Prasangika Madhyamika in relation to the conventional truth that true refers to merely as a truth, conventional truth, and that truth refers to being merely true in the perspective of an ignorant apprehensions of true resistance. So then, in that case, these Svadanika Madhyamika and the school below, then they guess the assertions of they have doubt in relation to the assertions of Prasangika Madhyamika and thinking that Prasangika Madhyamika they would assert in that way. So the conventionalities of yours, like the existence as a snake in the perspective of adherence to a snake, although there is no snake from the side of the road, are also perceived to exist conventionally by way of mere clinging to exist due to another mind. So related to this, given an example, the example given is the motor snake, the colorful snake, then although there is no snake from the side of the rope and are perceived to exist conventionally by way of clinging it, by way of mere clinging to exist, mere clinging to its existence due to another mind, due to the conceptions that apprehends the motor snake. Then, thus, how could sentient beings pass beyond sorrow even conventionally? So, if sentient beings, because that is to you. 디 심진라 디 군족도 요배로 심진랑 디 군족도 요배 야나 디 주세데
야 신체 우리로 된다 코로나 된다 신호가 예 신체 덴번지 덴지 요로와 디 신체 덴번지 덴지 데 몰라 다 덴바상지 엄마가 탄주와 저 군족도 요배 된다 차로 알고 그런 도발을 한 거로 어떻게 탄주와 데 군족도 요배 된데 샤고요 말와 네 샤고요 말와 간다 코로나 들어 타파 주든 진발와 타타디도 여기 주든 진지 또 봐요와 진지 또 봐 대응하나 다 타파디 주든 진지로와 주든 진들이 다 주든 진발나시 진지 대응하나 덴바레스 진지 대응을 대간 진도 거와 대간 진거 덴바 되는 뭐 덴바로와 다 대응하나 덴바 장지 대처럼 군도도 여봐 놓고나 다 된다고 도 지켜요 하서 같아 참아 코로나 그 지켜야겠대 신제 단지 군도도 명예 대번양대 도구문도 군조도 양의 도구문도 그래서 군조도 요새와데 뭐 주시 신진로 지련도 와서 뭐 신진로도 봐 샤바장 지련도 와서 군조도 요새와데 신진로도 샤바장 지련도 근데 샤바 장례만도 저는 군조 요비 텐데 미신 좋은 동에서 코란스 도발하니 단주하고 군조도 여봐 지금 미리 키내고 와서 코란스 도발하는 넣어도 근데 배로와 군조도 양 근데 군조도 요새와데 근데 신진로 봐 차는도 신진로 봐 차서를 때 신진로 군조도 냥게 토토고도 근조도 여봐 냥게 토토고도 근데 냥게 뭐도 안 되나 봐이나 타바 뭐도 안 되나 봐이나 대충 타바 토베도 엄마바비 따와 ጤ나 파셔군도 텔레비전만 스탠다면 무슨라고 그런 도발하니 다시 또 단주와 켈리 면조지 코로나지야 켈리 손에 그래서 당을 한다.
So like these colorful ropes, and then for sentient beings or for ordinary beings, they apprehend it as a snake, right? So so in the perspective of an apprehension of true existence, then it is true, right? So that snake is true. So however, in reality, the snake is not true. It's just a motor snake. So if so for ordinary beings, so if this is the conventional truth, and then the apprehensions of this conventional truth would be a mistaken consciousness. So if so in that case, then in that case, then they will not be able to attain liberation. So the reason why they are not able to attain liberation is because that conventional existence are mere confusion, are mere erroneous confusions. So so here it says, it follows that the attainment of liberation is impossible because all existence are nothing but confusion due to error. So if this is the conventional truth, then the apprehensions of this conventional existence will be mistaken consciousness. Therefore, they will not be able to attain liberation because those apprehensions of existence are mere confusions due to error, or they are mere erroneous confusion. So it follows that determining the view for the sake of attaining liberation is meaningless. So it follows that means that if you assert that ordinary beings are unable to attain liberation, then determining the view of the middle way for the sake of attaining liberation is meaningless. So this is I'll say the Svatantika Madhyamika. This is not the assertions of Prasangika Madhyamika, but Svatantika Madhyamikas and the school below, they think that these are the assertions of Prasangika Madhyamika. Verse 107, this is a conceptualization, that is another mind, is not our conventionality. After that, if ascertained, it exists. If not, conventional existence would be non-existence.
denji senji nando bu yoba momba za de chona kunzo de yobi de shago de tas kan ko wa ta de tema res la do o ma tema res ta rang lu mo ba rang lu la ni lu to bi ta yi yodo de bi ta chue tang ji rang ji de ba to bi shi de ji la so ba ji la so ba kunzo de yoba de ma cho wa yan da do de chemi tu bi chi ni ba yoba jin jo to ba ina ta tani de chemi tu bi chi ni ba yoba jin jo to na de kunzo de yobi ta res ta o ma tanja de kanda Denver maybe tani dio ba chi tela de
kona de chini joba chini tubi tsugi
o chini tubi tsiji ne ba yoba chini tubi tsiji ne ba yoba ji yo to ba ina de ko jo de ta dudi ma ji tere ma chanso ji shi bu na diskale khabo
chini tubi tsugi ne ba yoba jo to na
ne ba yoba ji jo to ba ina de ko jo de yoba ta res de tanda wa chini 주야 이거는 다 너도 싫어 chini 주야 인조지 누나 나 근저도 요레스 chini 주야 인조지 뭐도나 그 근저도 요 말레스 간다 좋아 근저도 요 신체라 요 chini 주야 인조지 뭐래요 어디 얘다 마이나 그 라노라 샤지 chini 얘다 마이 바이나 그 라노라 샤지 chini 두 번째 오면이나 그 근저도 두 번에 봐 근저도 두 번에 내가 냐는 거세 어디로 가
chini ki juya yo na ene di yo re ene dia chini ki juya me na ene di me ba ro
chini 두 번으로 세막
chemi ko
어디로다
chemi ko na chemi juya me na ene di me ro Response. This conventional existence asserted by the middle way proponents is mere clinging to existence by a conceptualization that is a mind of apprehension of true existence. Another mind that is mistaken with respect to the objects of adherence is not the meaning of a conventional existence in our systems of the middle way proponents. So in previous paragraph, so here it talks about proceeded to exist conventionally by way of mere clinging to exist due to another mind, then So that's why in response to their opinion, then Prasangika says, so this conventional existence asserted by the middle way proponents is mere clinging to existence by a conceptualization that is minds of apprehensions of true existence. Another mind that is mistaken with respect to the objects of adherence is not the meaning of a conventional existence in our systems of the middle way proponents. So they say, so Svatantika Madhyamika and the school below, they say that, oh, this is the assertions of Prasangika Madhyamika. Then Prasangika Madhyamika reply to them saying that this is not our assertions. In our system, after all phenomena asserted to be the objects of the view, which realizes the modes of abidance are realized to be empty of inherent existence, if one is able to perceive the existence of ascertainment of the conventional existence of object and agent, such as the object of production and the producer, by way of the modes of establishment by a valid cognizer without model, then that is the meaning of conventional existence. So the meaning is, so if anything is, if something can be perceived, if something can be certainly perceived as existent by way of establishment, by way of establishment by valid cognizer, then that is a conventional existence, or that is something that exists conventionally. I repeat, if something can be certainly perceived as existent by way of the establishment by valid cognizer, then that exists conventionally. So if we further summarize this sentence, or summarize the meaning of this sentence, basically it means that if something is established by, if something exists, if something can be established by valid cognizer, then that is an existent. If something cannot be established by a valid cognizer, then that is a non-existence. So because anything that exists must establish by a valid cognizer. Verse 108, so conception and that which is conceived, the two are mutually dependent, independent on how they are renowned or of the analyzed are expressed.
펜지 때리고 다 단조의 시에는 맞잖아. 최단지 라라지 다시라 때는 따바장래 해서 펜지 때리고 시고로 최단지 라라지 다시라 때는 따바장에서 너 파다산에서 그거로
주담지
라라지 다시라 때는
랑랑기
다시라 때는 다시라 때는 달로이 샤바다 따바장지래 마도 다시라 마딘바 요마르스고로 어디니서다 자가나 딜로 자 간다 레셰도
로 데메와이나 대한 그래서 뒤추 탐지를 요말했어.
로 딜로 때대로 파 따바레서 뭐라
로 따바 데메와이나 뒤추 요말했어.
사실 로이 파 따바다지 주어래 마도 그런 습사원이 요 말씀을 한다 주다 지 강아 맞대 봐 와 근데 주나 따라 하면 주로 그랬어 와 장면 주로 그랬어 와 오 되게 나 되네 데려와 간다 대시고 와 다 간다 디시고레 시보 자와히리 되나지도와 시보 내내 떼지 시에서 다 간다 샤와다 시보 보니까 핀지 떼 템바를 통해 단 줘버려서 핀지 떼 줘버려 랑고이 떼 소스 핀지 떼 템바를 줘버서다 다 랑고이 줘버 주제자 요마레스 다 달레우도 하루도 랑고이 주나 랑고이나 떼 핀지 떼 템바를 유사요 말스 핀지 떼 템바를 랑고이 줘버는 야와다 랑고이 주나 핀지 떼 템바 요마다 핀지 때 되면서 랑고이 주어 되어 말. 다 되니 배가와는. 로. 네 가와 소자 어다 되니 이게 타니지 진리 잡아라. 인도 다 미장 되니 넘버 줘 봐. 나게 파지 줘 봐리. 다른 또 미장 되니 파샤와 선지 레마도. 로. 또 가라고 자와니 요마. 탄주 최 탕제 나자 탄지 또비 파다자지 샤바장에. 스타 된다 디시고.
The way of proceeding conventionality in our system is just as has been taught in fundamental wisdom, and agent depends on acts. So here it talks about object and object processor. So the meaning, So the object processor, the conception, and the object, that which is conceived, are proceeded through mutual dependence, that is reliance. There is not the slightest existence by way of its own entity. All of the analyzed, that is presentations, are expressed in dependence on mere name according to how they are renowned to a Vedic cognizer of worldly conventionalities. So the meaning is, here we talk about there is an object processor, which is the object processor, how to say, thank you. So the object processor is the conception, and the object, that which is conceived. So this, because we talk about the object and the object processor, right? So the object processor is the conception, and the object is that which is conceived. So basically, here it talks about they are proceeded through mutual dependence. So meaning they depend, they are mutually dependent. So action depends on the action. The action depends on the agent, and agent depends on the agent. Sorry, I repeat. Actions depends on the agent, and agent depends on the action. So that is what it means by mutual dependence. So to give you an example, sewer, I think sewer. So like if someone sold a wool, for example, sold, right, SEW, sold at a sewer. Let me check the dictionary or the pronunciation. Sorry. Sewer, yeah. So sewer of a cloth, for example. So in dependence on a sewer, then the actions of sewing is proceeded, and in dependence on the actions of sewing, that a sewer is proceeded. So that is what it means by mutual dependence. So then, and for Prasangika Madhyamika, so all phenomena, they are merely proceeded by a concept, merely proceeded by conceptions in dependence on its basis of imputation. So all phenomena, so they are merely preceded by conceptions in dependence on their own basis of imputation, or they are merely preceded, or they are merely imputed by conceptions. So, and this mutual dependence is the opposite of existence by way of its own, from their own side, existence from their own side. So if something exists from their own side, then it means that that thing do not depends on another. So it is not a mutual dependent. If something is mutually dependent, then it doesn't exist from its own side. So these two, existence from its own side and mutual dependence, they are opposite, or they are contradictory. So for Prasangika Madhyamika, all phenomena, they are merely preceded, or they are merely imputed by conception in dependence on their own basis of imputation.
denji naja tega masa mamboji kore jwe tangwa kona spe rangi tsinji tugure rangi tsinji maduna te denji naja tega mundu kundoji naja kundoji naja mateba chani kore kundoji naja mateba ina demba nigi nasha da yugu marese kona spe dina horwa demba nigi naja tega marese da tini naja mateba dila tawa tumira tawa pamba te shigorwa de tuwe tawa pamba kamse namba jiba yin nanji jini juje na 대세 남지 대안은 남지 신나 두번 내세 다시로가지 되마 디디셔 두에 타고 와
rangi sengi juba de de gawaina teni se de
juba de 요거래 매번 rangi tin지 juba de 맨날 처럼 군도지 나게 되고 무슨 거라 군도지 나게도 마테바나 뎀바니 타니세 와다 대야 봐 잘.
teni gin남샤야나 teni 맞죠.
뎀바니 그 제도가 들어와 더 데니지 데니 모티브 잡아서 딱 데니 지금 무슨 잡았어 와 다 데니 모티브 잡았더라 다 가르 방글스나 하장 타와다 투메드 타와다 대체 뎀바티버 두신 된다 손내고 와 사지 오늘 그 데니 지금 무슨 잡았어 와 뎀바니 모티브 잡아서 시우디
데니
잡아대 빵와라 잡아대 빵와라 다 하장 타와 빵와다 투메드 타와 빵와서 이렇게 시시고 와 제가 뭐 같이 라지고 뭐 같이 통해 다 봐. 같이만 라지고 사지 같이.
So next outline is abandoning endless consequence. So under this, abandoning endless consequence is one of the faults if the assertions of if establishment by way of its own character is not preceded. So according to those schools, Vadantika Madhyamikas and the school below, so they assert that if the establishment by way of its own character is refuted, then the presentations of conventionalities would be incorrect. And if the presentations of conventionality is incorrect, then the presentations of two truths would be incorrect as well. So here, so there are different faults. If you refer to the outline, then you will be able to tell that there are few faults here, and this is one of the faults, which is endless consequence. So here is to abandon the endless consequence. And under this outline is verse 109, says, when one analyzes by way of analysis, that analyzes at that time, because that analyzer also would be analyzed, it would be endless.
다 강사의 최강하고 한다들 강사의 다음에 받아 취 다음에 제가들와 강사의 최강하고 하나 미네 다 간다 장기지 주마도 제바시와와
간사기 다음에나 취기 다음에
강사의 최다 강사의 최강하고 미네 간다 동시로와 강사의 최강하고 줄에 미네 다 덴바를 요매 제바시에 그와 강사의 최강하고 줄에 미네 다 덴바를 요매 제바시바나 다 제바제바 데이츠라 와라 제바시바 데이트 쟁기지 로여와 와 쟁기지 로데 제자디 콘스도 말이스 코랑 다 산로 들어와 중화데 다 강사의 최강하고는 미네 다 랑지 주바 여메 제바치고 요와 제바치고라 근데 제바제바 데이트는 다 제지지 로여와 제바치기 로데 제바치기 로데 제자가 대 콩스 도고 무슨 그런게라 내가 콩스 도고 무도 대 마도나 대 대면의 제 무슨 뭐 제지 권한다 대면의 제고 누가 뭐 있다 좋아지게 그러
주겐기 로데 안비 조르베스
제고다 뭐 해서 다 그런 받내고라 다처럼 같이 제 먹으러 봐이나 다 이제나야 참마나 손으로 그래 최 단계라 손이 최 단계라 제고 무도 내가 말 집아 제고 무도 손으로 무도 와 손으로 무도라 와 손으로 무도 같이 제고 연하서 다 제지 로데라 같이 demba yeme 제고 연하 다 제지 돼야 네 제지 코로나 나온지 현재 데미지 제고래 제지 될야 쟁게 현다지고 그랬어 현다지고나 다 제지라 도바 문제는 무슨 도메 잡고 무슨 와 다 자원에 토에 무슨 거라 도메 잡고 무슨 다 도바 내고 무슨 다 담보들 그런 잡아들다 도바 디디스 차도 넘어서 개야 말이야 간다 최다 가자 가로질라 미네 demba yeme 제바치가 데이세 제바 제이데 제제 질로 코랑 제바시사 쿠도 도고 도스코 제자 쿠스 도고 데 쿠스 마도나 다 제제 질로 코랑 제바 간다 제바 제우라 그 말이야스 또 무구나 제지다 무나 제비 우르스도 와다
Opinion. When one analyzes the emptiness of inherent existence by way of analysis that analyzes whether or not phenomena exist truly, since the mind of the one analyzing is not included within the objects of analysis at that time, is it necessary or unnecessary that it be analyzed as lacking true existence? If it is unnecessary, then since others are similar, the positions of all phenomena lacking true existence would degenerate or would be the same. And if it is necessary, then because that analyzer also needs to be analyzed as lacking true existence by another analysis, then analyzers would be endless. So here, when he says when one analyzes the emptiness of inherent existence, so it refers to the time when one analyzes whether when one analyzes whether it truly exists, whether it is truly existent or not upon observing person or phenomena. So when one analyzes the emptiness of inherent existence, so it means that when one analyzes whether it is truly existent or not upon observing person or phenomena, then that the mind of the one analyzing. So the mind of the one analyzing, whether since it is not included within the objects of analysis, so whether that mind of the one analyzing has to be analyzed or not. So if you say that the mind of the one analyzing had no need to be analyzed, then it would be the same for all other phenomena that they are not required to be analyzed as well. So it will be the same that all phenomena doesn't need to be analyzed, do not need to be analyzed. And if you say that that mind of the one analyzing needs to be analyzed, then since it needs another analyzer to analyze the mind of the one analyzing, then it will go on and on. It will become endless because that analyzer also needs to be analyzed by another analyzer, and then that analyzer also needs to be analyzed by another analyzer as well. So it becomes endless.
데미드 지 체마지 무엇에 다 담보 디로와 담보 최단지 덴바예메 제바지 그 제바지네 데미드 체미 녜사로 와. 다 데미드 체미 녜사로 와. 데미드 체미 녜차이길라 다 체마티게 다 데미드 체미 녜차스다 다 데미드 체미 녜 진다데 마야와 티시도 다 데미드 고또 차로 와. 데미드 또 차비 제라 다고 데미드 진다데 간다 파 말레바 마야와 데디 로팅 치제데 치제 제마 대기 로 대기 몰라 다 간다 덴버려 봐다 덴버트 번지고 마 덴버트 봐 저거 말해서 데 몰라 와데 몰라 데 몰라 데 봐 말해서 와 덴디 로 데 몰라 chagu ma re se de ro ko de me nge de ro de me nge ne zida de maya wa se de zida de maya ma nyam ba ro ro zida de maya wa 다 최단지 내도도에 강자대 도시에 받아 최단지 강자라 하지는 지발 최단지 내도도에 강자대라 내도 또 심바 시바 마냐 내 최단지 내미의 또비 강자되기 다 로아 내미의 또바라 시바 마냐 받텔라 단데 최진라 데 뎀바 투바 마두나 제바시비 된지기 제바시서 제 최진 리베 시그마리에스 하장 제바시야 로아 ताई आंजा देंबा टुगला मटु सिंता रिपी नांडा के रिचेबा चेगु मारे एस चेबा चेगु मारे चे मुगु बाच जिसे करसना हिच्ची के दा देमे छिन तो सरवा हिच्ची के देंबर मेबा तो सरवा देमे तो सर ता हिच्ची के देंबर मेबा तो सदी ती शेंदा पे लो सेंबा लो चेमाता छि शेंदा लो सेंबा के लो चेमाता ते देंबा मे 냐미 देंबा चेलो एस denpa tuku mundu san denpa che lo re mata yanja te denpa tuka mundu san yanja cheba mambu chaku ma re sila
shingi lo ge mata
shen ta ye shen la mi barwa ye shen ta nga so kawa tenda pe denpa mepa cheba shine kawa te denpa chini mepa nge sarwa denpa mepa nge sarwa ta denpa chini nge shinde ngane te ye shen bomba la soba te so la pe yanja ripi jeba tenda cheba cheko ma re ye shen la tenda denpa yod me lo chema taba o da denpa mindu sa tela denpa yod ma sa denpa chelo es denpa chelo kenen tela te tenda ripi nanda mambo shi sang tane tela tenda cheba cheko ma re se kwa wa o te denpa tuma lo chema taba na denpa meba nenyam denpa chelo re se kwa wa ta chelo je deme to ja lo denina chema jinje deme de chego ba tuba mi chelo chero pan ju de singal mo mo se ora chede chero mo mo se ngali mo mo se ma pa 다 지지 이 가서 그거이나 딘지 근다 하마지 난 지지 현다 양자 지고이나 지지게 된다 덴바 친이가 녀서 양자 지지 현다 지 딘지 고이나 다 딘지 근다 양자 지 하노 무슨 딘지 근다 하마 지 하노 무슨 다 딘지 근다 하게 요 말와 데메 또 살와
딘지 근다
딘지 근다 하게 요 말 데메 또 살와 데메 또 살와 딘지 근다 뱅은주와 타다 세망아마티 또 살에 또 세망아마티 딘지 근다 간다로와 셰미가 또 살 딘지 근다 또 살에 요 말와 내가 쓴다. 다 저런 거 나도 지나 단도 된지 근다지 하는 거 있어. 또 하는 거 있어. 와 된지 된바 명시는 다 가자다. 가바니까 하기 지제고 말 하기 주바야마 하기 냥이는데 바래. 다 최통제 하기 냥이는데 바. 제가 그랬어. 뭐로 하기 냥이는데 바래. 다 하기 주바. 마두 바래. 하기 주 똥바래서 왔다. 와
주던지 신기 냥이네.
하기 냥이는데 바래. 하기 똥바래서 된다 되고. 되나 리 또 봐나 다 공부시바 다 로고 트라지 냥이 또 그래서 그냥 가르스나 최탄제 하기 냥이는데 받아 하기 집에 똥만지 든지 또 봐이나 든지 또 봐대 공부시나 다 로고 트라지 냥이 또 그래서 내가 공부시바이나 로고 트라지 냥이 또 그래서 냥대로 와 다 냥대서 타바로 와 내가 와 로고 트라지 냥대다 타바 또 그래서 되는 거 되지
지지에 대해 로기 나기라 지지에 대해 로 이상 말이
교로가
지자 넘버 지자
제자 넘버 지지나 넘지라는 때이 때이 때면시는 맞지데 대양이 이제 맞지 소단에 들어온다.
Yeah. So then verse 110 says, when the objects of analysis are analyzed, a support for the analysis does not exist. Because the support does not exist, they are not produced. That also is expressed as nirvana. So then, yeah. So then, in response, it follows that the valid cognizer that realizes all phenomena to lack true existence does not need another valid cognizer to analyze it as lacking true existence. So this is the answer. Then the reason is because having analyzed that the objects of analysis or phenomena lack true existence, as long as the modes of apprehensions of that valid cognizer that analyze them as lacking true existence does not fade, a truly existent property possessor or substratum, the support that requires analysis as lacking true existence, does not exist as the entity of that mind. So meaning that if one has already ascertained something as non-true existence by a valid cognizer. So since one has already realized the non-true existence, then while the mode of the apprehension not yet fade, in other way of saying this is while the mode of apprehension has not yet degenerated or has not yet faded, then in the perspective of that awareness or of that mind, then the true existence will not appear. True existence will not appear in the perspective of that mind. So, for example, if one has already ascertained or realized the non-true existence on one basis, for example, a pillar. So one has already realized that a pillar as non-truly existent. Then there is no need. It doesn't. Yeah. One doesn't need to think about many reasons when you think about there is no need for you to again go through many reasoning to realize the non-true existence of another object such as a vase. So because you have already realized the non-true existence of a pillar, there is no need to go through again many reasoning to realize the non-true existence of another object, vase. So one how's it the mindfulness? Yeah. So the mindfulness, because the mindfulness that a vase doesn't exist truly, it can be easily arise in one's mind, in the mind of one who has already realized the non-true existence of a pillar. So then if you say then a truly existent yeah, then okay. 对 then so it's the supporter and the entity about and the second reasoning. So until the act of having realized that all phenomena are empty of true existence in the person who realized that weakens a property possessor or substratum, the basis that is distinguished by analysis, wondering is this truly existent or not, is not possible. For as soon as a mind-wandering soul is generated, the mindfulness thinking it lacks a true existence will be generated. So just as mentioned, in for one who has already realized the non-true existence on one basis, such as a pillar, then there is no need for the person or the practitioner to go through many reasoning to again to realize the non-true existence of another object such as a vase, because as soon as for example, as soon as a thought arises, whether something exists truly or not, for example, the vase, then an awareness or a mindfulness of thinking that it doesn't exist truly will arise in the minds of that practitioner. So if you say that if you were to say so then that this is because although all phenomena are realized as lacking true existence, another valid cognizer is necessary to analyze that very mind as lacking true existence, then you will accrue the fault of infinite regression. And if another analysis is necessary, there would be remaining acquired apprehensions of true existence left, but all manifest acquired apprehensions of true existence would already have been overcome by that very earlier valid cognizer. So if you were to say that the mind of the one analyzing needs to be analyzed by another analyzer, then there would be a remaining acquired apprehensions of true existence. So, however, there is no remain. So, if you were to say that the minds of the one analyzing needs to be analyzed by another analyzer, then you will accrue to the fault that there will be remaining acquired apprehensions of true existence. However, in reality, there is no such remaining, is because the acquired apprehensions of true existence has already been overcome by the realizations of non-true existence.
That will be in the world marwa. That then she temper to the Bujim of the Basta de Wasas. Kangitan and the Nidians, the Nishindo Kawane, Kati, Shiwan Ledentu, Shiwan Mila, 10 years. When the Shija Lishi to say, what the show of a tea, the combat to what?
And also, just now Kishal also mentioned, so because the supported property possessor does not exist truly, both the objects of refutation and the refutations are not produced truly. That also is expressed as natural nirvana. It is also described as attaining nirvana by way of separation from adventitious states, from having realized that meaning and familiarizing with it. So if one meditates repeatedly on the non-inherent existence of phenomena, then one would
the Kanda, Kanda Gaja, the Kappa Nika, Rangi, GTS, the Majitas at the wallet to see the dear, the Rangi, Rangi, by Jeffrey, the Rangi Machiwa Soda, the Chetan Rangi to the Tomba Jeva, yes, Rangi to the Tomba Jeva, Rangi Jeva, yes.
Rangxing, Chutamji Rangxing, Jubi Tomba said, the young Rangxing in Yang Le Deva Itendaro. That's all. Yeah, so both the object of refutations and the refutations are not produced truly, then that also is expressed as natural nirvana. So natural nirvana refers to all phenomena. All phenomena are empty of inherent existence. So that natural nirvana refers the meaning, or it refers to all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. So because it says that since both the objects of refutations and the refutations are not produced truly, then that also is expressed as natural nirvana. And natural nirvana refers to being empty of inherent existence. And it is also described as attaining nirvana by way of separation from adventitious states, from having realized that meaning and familiarizing with it. So if one familiarizes with this realization, then one will attain the nirvana that is free from adventitious stains. So in other way of saying this is one will attain liberation. And next outline is indicating that there is no proof that object and consciousness truly existent.
취 담보 취 찌기 때도 토마 님이 또 하나 내가 리바한다 리바한다 또 누구다 한다 리바한다 되게 진심 마음을 진성 단이 대만 또 그래 마도 또 와 어따들이 제마지 찌기 때도 또 차이제라 뜻이 신달라 딱 하나 내 하와래서 로하 덴버 예매 로하 쇼바 단지 어따들 덴버 멤버에 우선这些就是什么就是我们多少吧我们多少덴버 덴에 또 받아 시바 마냥 받아 공부하다 예 와 어디 이제가 되냐면 세부치 사이트 와 뜻이
So in summary, if one has already realized non-true existence on one basis, for example, person, that with the reasoning that because it is being dependent arising, then there is no need for you to again go through many reasoning to realize the non-true existence of other objects, because you have already realized the non-true existence on one basis. Then it's easier for you to realize the non-true existence in relation to other objects. So there is no need for you to go through many reasoning again in order to realize the non-true existence of another basis. Then yeah, because as soon as a doubt, or as soon as you wonder whether another object exists truly or not, then the mindfulness thinking that it doesn't exist truly will arise in that person. So this is the summary in relation to verse 110. Then next outline is indicating that there is no proof that object and consciousness truly exist. And then under this outline is verse 111 and the first lines of 112. The two, being truly existent from their point of view, abides with great difficulty. An object is established through the power of a consciousness. What support would exist with respect to an existent consciousness? Nevertheless, the consciousness is established from the object of knowing.
다들 가서 들다 다들 다 대시 덴버 투발 두시미가 덴버 스테로와 당음마 그런 다들마 고지 간다 거잖아 좋아 된다 시번이 덴버 투발이 고두고 응어마서 그런 단다 된다 시번이 덴버 투발이 슬로니 거와 다 된서 가서 들어 주소 된주들 딱 하다 주다 주소 되어와 주소 용가 들어와 주소 유튜브 들어와 또 된주 다 시바스와도 가서 미키 시바 들어와 Shiba na Shiba to Shiba to Yua, Shiba to Pirua, addition. That's the Demba, the Demba to Bandiore, the Demba to Bandia, the name of Korangi, to have a do tabats on the race, Korang to Diwan, the Demba to Barella Yaremato, the Demba to Basia, Hajan Jokaware, Dushi Ripa and Yomare, Dushi remind that never mother, Neji Ripa, go Mamoyers, Neji Mamoyers, Ripa and Yomaris Rua, set that the Shigua, no more Koran, the Demba to Badi. Demba to Demba to Gurias, the Warwa, Demba to Gurias. The Demba to Gurias was a woman crowned to Diwan. Crowned to not killing the Diwan, that Demba to Badias, a daughter was on the race, that daughter was on the Remado, and the Demba to Badi, Hachan no cowares, Demba to Bayomas, no cowares, the Jokawa in which is a kind of the Demba to be Dushi Riba and the Yomaris, Oma Pesson Tangura, the healing the Demba to Babi, Easy was the Dushi Riba and that's all in Yomare. Ribayanda never mazi, Neji Mamma Yores, Neji Mamma Yores, I did it, but it was. That did the Yanjan Chilora, Mount Yanjila,
The establishment of the two, the object and consciousness, as truly existent from the point of view of the propounders of things abides with great difficulty because there is no proof. So propounders of things, that they say that objects are such as form and etc. So there are 6 types of objects, and consciousness, then there are 6 types of consciousnesses, then such as I consciousness. So propounders of things, they assert that objects and consciousness exist truly. So they are these two are truly existent. Then Prasangika thinks that those propounders of things they assert that way is is due to because the tenets is by the force of the tenets, then they because they superimpose that things, that objects and consciousness exist truly. So they are merely superimposed due to the power of tenets. So because if because there are many because because there is no proof or there is no correct reasoning to support that, to prove that, and on top of that there are many damages.
다 루지 지바야다 요마세 다 야다 코로지 요마 코로지 안자 상담에 다 루지 지바야다 루지 요레스 다 코로지 와 요마 코로지 루지 요레스 가르스나 루지 가르샤고스나 다 미기 셰바도 뎀바 요레스 셰바도 뎀바 투바 요와선다 뎀바 투바 디원에 다소 텐투 뎀바 투바 해서 다 코로지 야데
셰바나 뎀바 투바
셰바 뎀바가 뎀바 투바 해스 데 셰바 뎀바 투비 진지지 데 텐투가 다 뎀바 투바 그래서 그런 데다 데바투고 또 해나서 너 데바투고 해나서 된다 돼. 와 제바 제마 데바투고 빼래 데바투고 데바투고 그래서 그런 비슷하게 와. 얘로스나 다 된디셔와이나 다 된디지 여봐 된디지 여봐 여봐들 자tin 제마 가려 자tin 제마 여 말해서 뭐라 다 메시도 데바투고라 두지 자tin 제마 가려지 여 말해서 이 제바 제마 인지 제바도 데바투고다 제마 인지 리고나 얘는 셰바 투미에 차는 거랬어. 셰바 투미. 다 간다. 다들랑도 코로나는 데바가 시죠. 제마 인지 근리지 리바이나 도와 리바이나 투미에 차는 거랬어. 투미에 되는 거랬어. 투미죠. 그 장리는 디어 말해서 맞게 댄싱 말해서 장리요 말해서 도와 장리요 말해서 어디 하고서 덴르지 셰바니나 자딘 세마지 여러 말해서 요 말해서 도와 셰바기 자딘 세마 말 장리요 말해서 그 장리는 셰바 인지 리나 투미에 되는 거랬어.
Opinion. So this is the opinions of propounders of things. They say the establishment of a truly existent object is proceeded from the power of truly existent consciousness, that is valid cognizer. So propounders of things, they say that there is proof. So or it can be proved, it can be established, or it can be proved by saying that because the consciousness is truly existent, so therefore they are truly existent objects. So that is what it means. That is the meaning of the establishment of a truly existent object is proceeded from the power of truly existent consciousness, that is valid cognizer. Then in response to their opinion, what valid cognizer can be backed and supported on a truly existent consciousness? There is none. This is because self-cognizer or self-knowers do not exist. And because if a consciousness is known by another, it would be endless. So yeah. So yeah. So the existence of a truly existent consciousness has no support. So there is no support because there is no self-knower, because there is no self-knower or there is no self-cognizers. And if it has to be known by another, then it will become endless.
야디 세마 쥐어서 쥐우리 하원의 시자다 이제 덴바 왕문선도 두 번들에 셰퍼도 그래서 나와이나 시자 요나 땡지여서 되게 핀스 왕이요 니가 하는 매번 줘서 감바송도와 다 되게 마시다.
And again, opinion. Nevertheless, the consciousness is established from these objects of knowing and objects of comprehension that are directly established to be truly existent. So, and in relation to this opinion, is the next three lines of verse 112. Say, what can be supported on an existent objects of knowing, existing by the force of one another, both would also not exist.
any pains it be one to yes, he just temporary pala, jetting the Tema Yomare, and he just keep on pains it, be on the pains it one to a remoto, Nikaya, Rani to Yoma, Rani to Nabasa, this Karisna, Retuda, a parasura came and she started on the Shimura, Korampe, the Rani Juna, a parasura tembada, Parasura, the Tsuru in Paranjogre, Tsuru Paralatin Tsurus in Jogre. Rimbola te 통화 때 rimbo 생각 타니 로아 되게 뒤지고든 두진 요 그래마도 내 장면을 주가 지요 말했으라 다 간다 바꿔 들어와
Response: what can be backed and supported on an existent objects of knowing? So the existence of a truly existent objects of knowledge or objects of knowing has no support, or there's nothing to support it. It means that there is no supporting valid cognizer for the existence of a truly existent objects of knowledge. And 4, so if preceded by a valid cognizer, then the two, objects and consciousness, would exist by the force of relying on one another. So objects and consciousness, they exist in relation. They are mutually dependent and they are mutually dependent, and so the meaning would exist by the force of relying on one another. It means that object and consciousness, they are mutually dependent, and both would also be clearly established as not inherently existent, just like long and short, and that side and this side. So this is the according to the assertions of Prasangika Madhyamika. So things are not inherently existent. So because it's just like the that side and this side. So over there, over here, and long and short, they exist relatively. So they exist relatively to an objects of reference.
다디 앉아 가디 오늘 파미나 좋아 분이 관에 좋아히 오늘 파면다 대신 지니 내가 미시 줄로 준다디 뭐 하고 계시고
So this is another supporting point. Verse 113. If he is without a son, he is not a father. From where would that son arise? Without a son, there is no father. Likewise, the two do not exist.
다 가디 보면은 파여봐 말이 판조지마다 된 것이잖아. 다 파면은 보통이 관에 좋아하는 주요 말이스. 그 보면은 파면이 진짜지 되니 편집 팁. 그 gem반도 편집 팁이 좀 우리 다 된다 두야 편집 팁도 두야 되와. 편집 팁도 시오디 그 강나 마테바랑에 두사 데가 다 된다 가야 또도 당연 좀 가고요. 가야 또도 당연 좀 가고. 다 당연 좀 가고디 다 신주 제 시행과 Change the Rangin to Maris, that decision, that decision, that pays to do, turn the ship and get the Aris, as a part of putting a fish on it, to turn the ship and get the Aran, pays to yes, what, coming to your Maris, that is she wrote.
So this is quite easy to understand. Says, if he is without a son, he is not a father, for there is nothing there to proceed. If there is no father, from where would that son arise? For there is no cause. Without a son, there is no father, whereby the two are mutually reliant. Likewise, the two, object and consciousness, do not exist truly. So basically, the meaning is both, or they are mutually dependent, or they're mutually dependent, and they exist in the way of mutually dependent. So, and as a reason to refute the establishment from his own side. So this is the reason to refute the establishment from his own side, and then with the example of a father and son. Verse 114. Just as a sprout is produced from a seed, and the seed is realized from just that, likewise, due to a consciousness that is produced from an object of knowing, why would its existence not be realized. Di parubogi de churo. Opinion, just as a sprout is produced from an inherently existent seed. So this is the opinions of another side. So just as a sprout, that is a result. Just as a sprout, a result is inherently produced from an inherently existent seed, and the seed is realized. That is, it can be inferred. Then from the correct sign, which is just that sprout. Likewise, due to a truly existent consciousness that is produced from an object of knowing, why is the existence of an ultimate truly existent object of knowing not realized? It must be realized. So this is the opinions of another side. Verse 115. If by a consciousness that is different from the sprout, the seed exists, would be realized, then by what would the existence of a consciousness realizing the object of knowing be realized? Because Mishiso them drew Yoba Nibe Semati Yomaro, the Semati Yona and the Rangri Yoro.
Kasi Yoguena, Yan Rariji Tongres. Yan Rariji Tongre, Yan Semaki Tongres. chema hinda ji to ro rang ri mo to ban ta rang ri me ba te sa re sa ri ma res de chema hinda ji thong ba ina chema hinda ji bi ja go na de tu me cha ro wa se da jo de da ni tu me cha ro mo me ji ro
Response, that is incorrect. Then if a sprout is seen by a valid cognizer consciousness, that is a different substance from the sprout, and the seed exists is realized, then by what valid cognizer is the existence of a consciousness due to its realizing the objects of knowing realized? For self-cognizers have already been refuted, and you also do not accept other knowers. So yeah. So if one see the result, the sprout, because through seeing the result, a sprout, and come to know the cause, because one knows, if one knows the cause, the seed, through seeing the result, sprout. So I think it's better to say like this. So if one knows the causal seed through seeing the resultant sprout, then and because I 미시 수 된주 요바 because
도도 들어와 누구 라니래 대신 비셰바 지기단 제부 누구데 통나와 누구 거라 누구 라니래 대신 비셰 대신 셰바 긴다지로 거라 셰바 긴다지기 단 제부 누구데 통하나 다 이리 통나 된 제부 달에 제사베 요 제토바 저나 주리고나 토바 주리고나 선도와 토바 선도와 대디 제부 달에 다 누구데 제부와 와 제비 달에 때 제사비 요지 되니 또 반주와 이나스 또 두요나 다 준지 근데 준지 이나 다 준지 관계시 다 시자 주라 주서 들어와 주 들어와 주 대다 또바 시비 미시 대다 또 미시는 거라 대다 또바 시비 미시 소다 미지 시바서 거라 미지 시바서 되니 시바 된두 여바 되니 두시지 시바 된두데 요리에서 되니 두시 세마 간디지 또 두레스 시바 된두지 와 시바지 또봐 시바 된바 두바지 똥케지 야 세마 된바 두바 와 시바 된바 두바 똥케지 세마 간디지 샤부레스다 요 라바이나
시자 된수 라소바로
내가 또봐 시비 미시 주소 내가 또봐 시비 미시 와 미기 시바서 다 된디 시바 미 시바지 요리에서 나와라 다 된디 시바 된두지 요리에서 나와라 그 여보면 시바 된두지 요리에서 나와라 시바 된두 된디 시바 된두 되니 여바 되니 다 두지지 체마 된디지 여바다 두지 체마 간디지 또 그래스 두지 체마 힌다지 또 그러와 야미 라리지 또 그래 야미 체마 힌다지 또 그러와 된디지 요리에서 와이나
야 미시 덴바 주바
된디지 여바이나 시바 된두 여바 된디지 되니 여바 두지 되니 요리에서 하고야 야미 체마 힌다지 그래스 보통이 야미 라니 쿠라 또 그래스 니 요리에서 왔어 와 다 된디 저니 따다 레고도 시바 된두지 요리에서 와 주소 대나서 봤대 된디 또 계지 시바 된바도 같이 미 시바라서 시바 된바도 같이 요리에서 이 요비처럼 두지데 야미 시바 체마 힌다지 또 그래스 야미 코라 냐스니가 아니지 또 그래스 되니지 마토나 된디지 요 말해서 다 간다 요는 진짜 그래서 요는 와 왔다 라리지 내가 타체서 대사리 당라리 요 말했어 라리 내가 대신 말했어 와 다 제마 현다지기 되지 또 요나 제마 현다지 또 그나 내 두매 차로 그래서 제가 두매에서 이렇게 내고 왔어 두매 차로 했어 어디
Yeah. So if you say that, so say to say to the other side, and because 누구 시바기 도나 유사베 유에시나. Yeah. So if one know the causal seed through seeing the resultant sprout, then then one would be able to realize the causal seed through the reasoning of result. So in that case, the consciousness, such as I consciousness, that realizes object such as form, then would exist. And if let me start over. So if one know the causal seed through seeing the resultant sprout, then one will be able to realize the causal seed through the reasoning of result. Then a truly existent consciousness, such as an I consciousness that realizes an object such as a form, would exist. And if that existed, then what the proof to support the existence of that I consciousness, either it would be either it would be realized by another valid cognizer. So this is the proof. So because if they were to say that the I consciousness exists truly, then the existence of that I consciousness, the existence of that truly existent I consciousness must be must have proof, right, or must have reason. Then that proof, either it needs to be realized by another valid cognizer, or it needs self-knower or self-cognizers. So, and they have already refuted self-cognizers, and so therefore there is no proof to support one of the proof to support the existence of a truly existent consciousness is refuted. And then the first proof, which is being realized by another valid cognizers, then again they will have the fault of being endless. So the other side, they kept saying it will become endless and etc. Right? It become infinite regressions or endless. So if it needs to be realized by another valid cognizers, then it will become endless or infinite regression. Next outline is refuting causeless production, and under this outline is verse 116 and 117. Yeah. Say, sometimes by a direct perceiver of worldly beings, all causes are seen. The divisions of the stems and so forth of lotuses are generated by the divisions of causes. If you ask, by what are the divisions of causes created? They arise from the divisions of previous causes. Why are causes able to generate results? They arise from the very strength of previous causes.
Rebuchi and Tonguras, also Tonguras, the Pimiki Dumbo Kadota, Dama transfer, Rebuion, the Juyo Mandawa is kind of Pimi Dumbo Kado, somewhat the Kadota, Dami transfer, the Jebi Iwa Maboya, the Juyo Mandai, Joan Hayes, the Juyo Mandawa Kangi Shakina, Uaji Jum Mandawa, you are Teniris, Jumda you are. That the Mabo then double operation. That Jish Jumandai, Jibum Mandawa, Chilata Minister, at a Rimatimba, then Jib, Jib, and the Rimatim Jebuchi, the Michiwa, you do Marsawa, Jib, as a Ritim Bachimathua, and so Rimatimba Karachi Masna, then also Joda Buchi, Jesavene, then Jib, Reda Buchi Marsawa, Jim Masa, Jimitimba, Jim the Chigmas, Jimmy, then Suzuki Junior. Mandawa, Jibu Mandawa, Susu Chigris, this was Rana Good, Tirana can Jibu Mandawa Chigris, still over Mandawa Chigris. Then we go, Tanchi Kanda, Jimmy Chia Maris, it is Jenga Chia Migris, Tarwa, then Tanchi Chichi, Jim Neva Mare, Jumus, Julie Macho, the Miss Mus, Twan to us, Tentolas about the Twan to us. And Mus, Geneva Mus, Twan to Kadishia, that day.
Ayatas. So ayatas are those who are flung afar. So ayatas is also translated as chavakas. So we do not see anyone creating the variegated feathers of peacocks and so forth. The roughness and smoothness of lotus petals, the sharpness of thorns and so forth are not created by any creator. Therefore, they arise from their own entity. So for ayatas or shavakas, then they say that all these smoothness, roughness, and etc., they arise from their own entity, and they are not produced from cause and condition. Then in response, that is incorrect, because sometimes by a direct perceiver of worldly beings, all causes that are producers with respect to most outer and inner things, such as harvest, are seen. So, like for example, harvest like crops, fruits, and etc. Then these can be seen by a direct perceiver of worldly beings, that these results are produced from causes. And the divisions of results, such as colors of the stems and number of petals of lotuses and so forth, are produced by a diversity of divisions of causes. Then ayatas, then by what is the diversity of divisions of causes made? Response, it comes from the diverse divisions of previous causes. And why are diverse causes able to produce diverse results? There is no fault of inability, because they come from the very strength of the previous causes. Since the causes are diverse, they are able to produce individual diverse results. And so basically, these results, different results, are produced by its concordant cause. So for example, results will not arise from a discordant cause. For example, rice will not grow from the seed of a barley, for example. Then therefore the subject, these things are not causeless, because they are observed to be produced at certain places and times. And and these things or results, then they are not causeless as well, because they are observed by the worldly direct perceivers.
That they will want you to take the covers, want you to take like a dinda. But the combating the young machine in the combating rock. Want you to take the cover, want you to eat during us. That want you to eat during so that is budget. Chitaba, that's it over to budget Chitaba. John Jigsaw, Chuchi, want you to take in solo gora. That want you to take in the night. That want you to be tangy chambers, want you to be tangy chamber digging. Did me the little tangy, that want you know in the tangy. Chiba in the Louis Julius, I want you to get Shimura. But you can ask that one.
Next outline is refutation with respect to the inquired meaning of Ishvara. Refutation with respect to the inquired meaning of Ishvara. And under this outline is the 1st line of verse 118. Says, if Ishvara is the cause of migrating beings, then commentary says, the Nyayikas, the Vaisheshikas, and one faction of the Samkhyas who assert Ishvara to be a god, the all-knowing, self-arisen Ishvara created all abodes, bodies, and enjoyments by first making an idea in mind. Hence, he is the cause of migrating beings. Next 3 lines of verse 118 and 119 say, for the time being, what is Ishvara? Say it. If you say he is the elements, it is indeed like that. Why exhaust yourself even with respect to a mere name? However, since earth and so forth are many, impermanent, without movement, not a god, to be walked on and unclaimed, they are not Ishvara himself.
Dema Maris. Koran Nanga Luga, Nanga, Koran Nanga killing.
Langa,
Nanga, no, Gawana, Koran Tambo Kikine, Matama Rese, Roa Matama, Taris, Tamala Sarwa, Tindi, Taris, Mongol. That is some time.
Mizawa Yimbe Gimzin, the young Kaisina de Sala de Pongioro. Response for the time being, what is the meaning of Ishvara? Said that he is then these Vajnayikas, Vaishashikas, and one part of Samkhyas, then they say Ishvara is the elements, since results. Ishvara is the elements, since results increase and decrease due to the increase and decrease of the elements, such as earth. So they assert that Ishvara is elements such as earth element and so forth, and then response, it is indeed like that. Even you assert that results increase and decrease due to the increase and decrease of the elements, then we do Prasangika Madhyamika, we do insert that way as well. So the result increase and decrease due to the increase and decrease of the elements. However, why exhaust yourself with great hardship to prove Ishvara, even for a mere different name that has no different meaning? It follows that such exhaustions is inappropriate. If there are great differences in meaning, such as one being permanent and the other being impermanent and so forth, then this is inappropriate as to Ishvara. Such inappropriateness is reflected in the word, nevertheless, since the substance, the earth element and so forth, are in the nature of being many, impermanent in that they are produced and disintegrate, and without movement in the sense of first making an idea in the mind to create result, and the elements are not a god, are to be walked on by feet and so forth, and are unclean. They are not Ishvara himself, for you asserted that he is permanent, unitary, first makes an idea in mind to produce a result, and is a god, and asserted that he is clean and not to be walked upon. So it's very long. So basically, we understand we need to understand their assertions that Nayayikas, Vaisheshikas, and one part of Samkhyas, they assert the nature of Ishvara is a unitary, so it's partless unitary, partless unitary, and it is permanent. That doesn't produce and disintegrate, and it has the movement of mind. It possesses the movement of mind because it says that Ishvara first makes an idea in mind, then in order to produce a result, right? So Ishvara is someone who possesses the movement of mind, and it is a god, and it is clean. So if you were to say that Ishvara is a partless one, partless unitary is permanent, then it possesses the movement of mind, it is a god and is clean and etc. Then however, and you also say that element, Ishvara is element, right? That includes earth element, and earth is to be walked upon, right? So, and if it's walked upon and is not clean, then how do you assert that Ishvara is clean, yet it is to be walked upon? So the Prasangika indicates the internal contradiction in the assertions of Nayayikas, Vaisheshikas, and one factions of the Samkhyas.
참이 지고만 차시요레스 진이 메다바레 진지식이 메다바레스 거의 따바레라고 그러 거의 로이와 지금 그랬다 누워서 로이와 메바레스 그 원실 하레스 그때 누워서 다 말했어 그 깜바스 지금 원자레스 그 깜바스 사소도 깜바스 원자레 거의 장와레스 그때 누워서 마장와레스 다 근데 순간에 걸 나가는 거였어 뭔가 생이 묻히면 잘 모르겠어 그러
So Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas and one factions of Samkhyas, they say that Ishvara is a partless unitary, right? So it is not partless unitary because it's not partless unitary because for according to Nayayikas, Vaisheshikas, and so forth, they assert Ishvara is the elements, right? So and these elements such as earth element, they are not partless unitary because they have parts, and then and they also assert Ishvara as permanent, that doesn't produce and disintegrate, and however elements such as earth element is impermanent because they go through changes, they go through productions and disintegration, and they also say that Ishvara possess the movement of mind, right? So, and however, element doesn't possess the movement of mind, and yeah, then they say they say that Ishvara is the God. Then, however, those earth elements and so forth, they are not God. And lastly, they say that Ishvara is clean, and however, is not clean because earth elements such as earth element then is to be walked upon. So therefore, they are not clean. So then, their internal contradiction are indicated.
다 도와치잖아. 다 도와진다. 제일 장점이다. 디세지라 뭐더라. 도와치에는 당시 다 가서 지샤시시.
We don't have much time left, so if you have any questions, then maybe we have time for one questions. Then you can ask now. Yeah, so in last class, then Dr. Go, you had one question, so you wanted to ask, right? So you wanted to ask now?
Yeah, it has been too many verses before, maybe difficult to, because I sometimes within the same verse, I want to ask in verse 9.99, within the same verse, when the teaching was given last week, I'm not sure whether it's from whose perspective, 9.99, even though they are seen or touched due to nature similar to a dream or illusion, because they are produced simultaneously with the mind, feelings are not seen by it, and it followed to 9.100. I thought it appeared to me, because Geshe-la said experiential are caused and the result is object to be experienced, so it is sequential. But here it said it's produced simultaneously. This is to be rejected. So what, never mind, I think it's, I read too, but what I would appreciate, because within the same verse, sometimes it's actually by the non-prasangika madhyamika. So maybe, I suppose we can tell among this 9.99, which verse is actually from those holding true existence and not, my question will be, I thought when teacher thought this was actually Prasangika views, so I thought Prasangika views feeling comes after the consciousness, right? Even the traveling also, the link consciousness, then only contact, then only feeling. But here it said it produced simultaneously. So in summary, my question is, sometimes when you explain, it appeared to be like the view of Prasangika. So in future, maybe when we explain, when we say this is the view of which Prasangika reject.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Kishla. Ini tiang ngap kia sumju so ji ro. Ini tiang kaza tonga amni rikwa yang milam gyude dani gi. Ini tiang mishi gi tonga amni. Ini di lushi gi rikwa ande. Kana ini di sugi tu tsu res. Kaisi na kong kaza di dima di lobe ka la tsam tsam la tiang sugi tu tsu tang su ka gi yo res. Ini tiang shi da haku gi yo ma resa. Chisa ni tanda di di lab yo ra ni di chua sem dan len ji ki be chi se de yang tiang kasa uma ba gi de chui na yang na uma be kasa ande tuk ta xian gi de chu de ga gi yo na me na ka is na chua sem dan len ji ki ba na de len ji ki ba ma ro was
더 가고 해서 전다 현다 우마바이 파 그저 랑이 주반 내게 뒤서 봐 가고 해서 랑이 주반 내가 장자 가고 맞아 소화다 간다 소위 랑이 주반 가봐 소화 생다 린지 집이 랑이 주반 가봐
초에
소화 생다 린지 집이
담보 대안데 초와 가래
생디 랑이 주반 가봐 랑이 주반 생디 랑이 통하다 다 간다 가야 돼 소위 유진 랑이 주반 가봐 소화 코로 랑지 주바 가야 된다 너도 되겠어. 소화된 것도 준다 오마. 랑지 바면 이제 저 랑지 주반 되고 봐. 랑지 주반 되고 소화.
랑지 주반.
랑지 주반 되고. 당어서 네가도 쉬어든 것도 소화 된반에 이게 쉬어 봐. 다 소화 된반에 이게 쉬어디. 다 소화 그러게 뭐라. 쥐바시네. 다 가다 쥐바지나 지다. 소화 그러 뭐데 다 소화 가서 랑지 소화들라 네가 소화 된반에 이게 쉬어오네. 소화 된반에 이게 쉬어디. 로 다 초하고 뭐라 제바 지당지다 다 랑게 제바 랑게 진짜 지 진이스 랑지 니시고요 정말 게라 니시 된다 가야데 데가들 초하랑 이지 주바가 봐 랑지 주바가 된다 오마르스 랑지 바면지 초하랑 주바도 요와 랑지 주바 어디 졸라 바가바레스 랑지 주바가 봐 된다 노도시나 소위 유지 랑지 주바 초하 거를 랑지 주바가 봐
초하 된디나 대 초하 셈단 렌지 봐 된디 니 가사디 초와 셈당 생지 끼기요나
센터 해지와 열었어 열을 때이나 센터 해지를 열랑 이 주바스 다 가오라
디 초와 셈당 생지 디 생지 끼바 끼야 요로 이니 단나 갑디 니 단 생지랑 신기 끼바 되로 제가 니 단 단단히 갑라 양 우마베 랑규바 당 멘지 데가 디 수데 가기요로
kuzo 가스나 랑지 주반 되고 동자로 와
야, 근데 대한 제마 공기, 얘네 대한 제마 가서 디 디시 개발가 라는 참성라 대한 어디 수의对出的，얘네 디 수기对出的가기요래 얘네 디 기실라 제마 디 송로 난사.
Yeah.
That's all. So probably your questions was about because feelings are generated simultaneously with the mind, then you're saying that feelings is generated after the mind and so forth, right? So then we have to understand in what context these words are put together. So because feelings are generated simultaneously with the mind, and here we are in the context of close placements of mindfulness on feeling, and when he says because feelings are generated simultaneously with the mind, and this refers to the assertions of Svatandika Madhyamika and the school below that they assert feelings are inherently generated simultaneously with the mind. So with the qualifications of inherent existence or inherently generated that is simultaneous with the mind. So here Prasangika is refuting the assertions of Svatandika Madhyamika and the school below that feelings are generated inherently that is simultaneous with the mind. So basically, in brief, Prasangika Madhyamika is refuting the inherent existence of feeling, which is asserted by Svatandika Madhyamika school and the school below.
Yeah,
so if you have further questions, then please ask in next class, Dr. Goh. Thank you.
다 간다 랑자는 거리 잡아도 되는 세버는 뭐지 스타일 신청이 되는 네 저게 주스는 뭐지 저게 자주는 뭐지 그냥 신청이 해야지다 다 자리 이루기나 간다 간다 마트 얘도 참조ችን 답하시대요 어디 되시는 거예요 마트 때 이제 신기 체내에서 체고 통해서 디파트 산지 그거 얘들다 어디 되지 디파트
So we conclude this session with dedication. We dedicate these roots of virtue to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and to the excellent happiness of all sentient beings. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha Dharma, illustrated by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to live eons long, to have excellent health, and may all their enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread in all directions. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to our beloved teacher, Kyabje Lama Sopo Rinpoche. May the unmistaken reincarnations of Rinpoche be swiftly found. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue. May the unmistaken reincarnations of Tiso Rinpoche and Tashi Rinpoche be swiftly returned. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to world peace, and may excellent happiness prevail throughout the world. May wars, conflicts, may all unconducive conditions such as wars and conflicts that is happening be pacified immediately. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to sentient beings, especially those who pass away due to these wars and conflicts. May all their negativities accumulated since beginningless time be pacified immediately and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment.
다소 신의 사배 개와 대天堂 조와 근라감에 나체와 지진 로상 자마이 대변이 보리로 세제 주어 찬주 생조린 보지 마지 반항기 규지 제와냐마 미바야 공예 공동 배와 조 가와린 보지 마지 반항기 규지 제와냐마 미바야 공예 공동 배와 조 동니 제수는 주변라 지세세제 간제들을 찬나 비모 댄싱 여종라 소안의 소신들을 도쇼 지대 컨텐 페데 마게바 간의 주야 선배 거리 좀 땡제 장조라 소와데 소주결은 도쇼 다음에 때마자세 로산 자와의 세기 마지라 자기게 자요말에 바든다면 바드베게레서 요소도 베드데를 뭐지 시다 주베 진제괴와라 나야면 쇼스베 고자전 수메 지즈로 마소와데 페데 마르 주웨 고지 보게웨데 다마게 도와이 되나 지도 쯤바즈베 로브레 조와신데 이네 바웨다 주조께서 진라당 자세나게 투게라 보지 도베데베 양조사베 좀 계산도 지베도 유지쇼 가르라 이거 신간에 배다 대왕 마루 중에는 제레서 어떤 쟁자서의 샤베 신대 버도 땡조지